Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and start with our Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series media availability, and we are joined by Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske. Joey, big news week for you. Not only did you have the outstanding creative gender reveal for your upcoming son, but also good event with the Driving Hope Foundation with the home project in Connecticut. Could you explain a little bit about that for us?
Yeah, we had a busy week. Anytime we come up here to Loudon, it gets very busy. A lot of different activities going on, and one of them was the Joey Logano Foundation's Driving Hope Home golf tournament and dinner and gala as well. It was a lot of fun. We had a great turnout. Every year it's grown and gotten bigger, which is great, and we're able to do that in Connecticut. It's right down the road from where I'm from, so you get to see a lot of family and friends that they come to the dinner as well, and a lot of great supporters in the Connecticut area for me. So it makes sense for us to have the event there. We raised a lot of money. It was a lot of fun. We had Mike Massaro up there and Kyle Petty. So you can imagine Kyle's up there. You can imagine how that went. It was a lot of fun.
Hilarity.
It was hilarious, exactly. We had a good time with that. Was able to inspire a lot of people to live generously, and that's a big part of our mission, is to get people thinking in the right direction, and we changed a lot of kids' lives last night. So very proud of the effort of the foundation team to put all that together. It's a lot of work, and especially doing it far from where I live now is very challenging for everyone. So to be able to put that together, everything runs smooth. Was very proud of that, but more proud of everyone's mindset when they left that place.
Great stuff. Let's go ahead and open the floor for questions. If you have a question for Joey, please raise your hand. We'll get our wireless mic to you. We'll start with Jerry, go to Mark, and then to Lewis.
Jerry Jordan, kicking at Tires.net, PRN.
Wow.
Good question. Anyways, I don't know how to answer that one.
Will you talk about what went into how you went about the gender reveal, and because it was pretty cool, and obviously you had the help from Ford there with the you break it, you buy it plan though.
Yeah, we did have the break it, you buy it plan, so which didn't affect the way I did anything. Probably should have. I thought about it before I started doing the burnout, and then afterwards I was like, no, we're going to keep going until something breaks. It's usually my mindset when I start doing a burnout. But it was really cool. I was, I saw on YouTube that there's different colors that cars do burnouts, and I said, man, we should do a blue one. That would be really cool. So we started looking for a set of tires. It was actually more challenging than I thought it would be. I found a set of tires, but I make them in Australia, and I get them over here. It was a pain in the butt. And I get a wheel for it, and then I thought, man, I got to get a car to do a big burnout in, and I called Ford, and I said, you got anything? And they said, they sent me this brand new, this thing had 14 miles on it when I picked it up, GT350. I'm like, perfect. So then, of course, I tried to put the wheel on it, and it's got these big beefed up brakes on it, so the wheel doesn't fit over the caliper. So I got to take the brakes off the car, which was great because it's just a back, and all I needed was the front, so who needs rear brakes in a burnout? So we took those off and put the tires on it and roasted the tires till there was no tires left, and put the brakes back on it and sent it back and said thanks. And it was a lot of fun. It was something cool, and to have our family and our closest friends there, that was a special moment. It was really cool just to hear everybody's reaction. At first it took a minute for the blue to come in. At first it was just white, and I was like, oh no, Brittany, we screwed up. Like there's no smoke coming out, and it turned blue. Everyone went crazy. So it was a lot of fun. It was a great reason to do a burnout. So it's all about that, and a fun, unique way of doing it as well. Oh yeah. She has a blast with that stuff. She is a ride or die girl for sure. She jumps in this. We got those Polaris Razors, and she just rides in the passenger seat. Not now that she's pregnant, but before. I can't scare her. She just sits there and just bombs around, and she'll ride all day. So, yeah, I got lucky on that front.
We'll go Mark, Lewis, Nate, and Jeff.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Hate to go serious now after
I know,
that.
there was so much fun there for a second.
Exactly, exactly. How do you view right now your shot making the playoff? You and Matt Kenseth's a very unique position right there. Both of you could potentially win any given week. Both of you can just go on streaks where you put one good finish up after another. So it could be, a pretty tough fight between you two here if one of you doesn't win or both doesn't win.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle to the end for sure. And I feel like, obviously both those race teams are really good. Both these race teams have take that for granted in a way. In the last few years, you're thinking about, winning it. Right now we're thinking about we got to get in first. So the mindset's changed a little bit, but that's just, it's a situation that we're in after a few bad races. And our team's still capable of winning. We do have to get a little more speed in our cars. I think that's apparent all the way through. So we got to be able to make our cars faster. But I thought last week we executed a great race. We got a good finish out of it. We have to score more stage points for sure. And ultimately we need to win a race. We're 2 or 3. And, obviously as it comes closer, you start thinking about that more. But I also think about how this team's won 3 races in a row. And you win 3 races in a row, and all of a sudden the whole story's changed, and we're got some of the most points when we start to play off. So it can change at a snap of a finger how this whole thing looks. And any team can take off on a streak like that, but it's a matter of just getting the speed back, because I feel like the team is where it needs to be. Our pit stops where it needs to be. We're racing well. We just got to get faster, and that's the biggest thing right now.
Are you surprised to be in this position? Are you surprised?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm very surprised. This isn't the spot that you expect when you start the season. You go out there expecting to win the championship, and that's the playoffs kind of, like I said, just kind of comes as you would assume you'd be there. So, I still assume we're going to be there. We just got to work hard to get there.
We'll go Lewis, Nate, Jeff, then Amy.
Louis Frank of Reuters. Following on Mark's, I think a very excellent answer, but when aside from when you get to Richmond and maybe have to play for points, how much input do you have? How much input your crew chief has to what's our strategy going to be, or take it race by race? How do you come to that decision?
It's all race by race, and none of this is new. If you think about it, we do this throughout the playoffs. When you have a cutoff every 3 races, the points are close. And they're going to be closer this year than ever with all the stages and how that works. But, I think of, Phoenix last year. We went into that race do or die. We won. Talladega was the same thing. It was do or die, and we won. We have to, we're going to get in a situation that's going to be do or die, and I have more faith in this team that it's going to happen than not. This team rises to the occasion for sure. When the pressure's on, they show up. And it's just a matter of time before that happens.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Joey, 18 races this season. The first 9, you had 8 top 10s punctuated by the win at Richmond. 9 races since then. I think you've had 2 top 10s, and as you said, just lacking some speed recently. A lot of people just want to point to Richmond and say something happened there and changed. Is it that simple, or have you guys been able to figure out what it is or what you need to get your car back to where it needs to be?
Yeah, I think we know what it is, and I don't think it's that. That was so small that it didn't make our car faster, and that's the unfortunate part. I mean, it wasn't something that we were trying to do. It was just something that happened after the race that was there. And I mean, it's a 32nd of an inch. It's not making our car faster, and it's not something that is taken away from the rest of these races. It's just after that we crashed at Talladega. We had 3 crashes in a row. There was some different modifications to our bodies that NASCAR started regulating. That took some performance away from our cars, and we have to try to make that up. And that's kind of the biggest thing right now is we're just trying to figure out how to make that speed up. But nothing from Richmond would affect what happened. It is easy to assume that. I agree. If I was the outside looking in, I would say the same exact thing. I said, obviously it happened from there. It's not. I promise you that. It's not that simple. and it never is in our sport. It's just, there's a lot of different things that add up to it. But when you crash 3 weeks in a row, and it kind of takes the wind out of the sails, and you have a couple different mistakes, and then all of a sudden, I think recently we've been able to execute pretty well. Michigan, we finished third. We executed that race well. We did crash in Daytona, but half the field did, and then maybe more, and then last week we finished 8th. So we're getting back going again. We're climbing up that hill again, back to where we need to be. It's just it takes a little bit of time to get there.
We're going to go to Jeff, then to Amy, then to Rich, then to Pat.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. So the PJ1 or VHT, whatever you want to call it, it's in like the...
Are you asking Jim from Paducah, or are you asking me? How should I answer this?
I'd enjoy that. Hey, however you want. I would enjoy both. It looks like, so the middle lane is sort of empty, the main groove that you guys typically run. Then the third lane is striped, and then the bottom, the very, very bottom, has a bit. Is that basically what you guys were advocating for?
Yeah. The question got put out to a lot of different drivers this week, and from the council, and the council drivers, we kind of got on our group chat and was talking back and forth, and what do we think is best, and we were able to have conversations with NASCAR about it, on what we think is best, and be able to apply, and hopefully it works good. This has been it's a racetrack that you can pass on if your car is pretty spectacular, and maybe if you have tires on and other cars don't, that's enough to be able to get through the field. So there is some tire fall off, which promotes passing, but a lot of times after 10, 15 laps here, everyone's kind of where they're at, and then passes don't happen often. So the wider we can make the racetracks, the more air we can get on the nose, the more passes that could be made. So when you think about that, how do we make it wider? How do we do that? We got to go to where we don't run. Right now, the fastest lane on this racetrack is the second lane. So how do we make the track wider? We got to put some up in the third lane and try to make the bottom a little bit better, to where the guy in the bottom has a shot to keep rotating and trying to get off the corner to where he can actually clear somebody. And that was the goal. We'll see how that works. It's a learning process on how it works, but I think it's great that NASCAR, the tracks, drivers, teams, everyone's open to trying it. It's something that's it could be a larger deal than we all think, for sure. But definitely there's a lot to learn about it, and how long it lasts in a race, and where is the right places to put it on each track. Each track's different. It's not like you're going to do the same thing next week. It's just, you got to find the right places to do it, and that'd be a little bit of trial and error, I'm sure. But I think this is definitely worth trying.
Go to Amy, then to Rich, then to Pat. Can we get her a microphone, please? Thank you.
So statistically, you got your first race win here due to a rainout back in 2009. So what influences do you think the overcast weather will have on the racetrack surface this weekend? And what are some of your biggest strengths and weaknesses that you see in your car and you in this weekend? Yeah,
I'm not a weatherman, and I didn't even go to college, so I don't know I got an RCD. That's all I know. That's a race car driver. I don't have a PhD. I just have an RCD, and which takes you a long time to get that degree, by the way. That's not an easy degree to get. But I don't know how the weather all works, and I don't really call a race to it. That's something Todd does, and actually we were talking about that rain out win, and I've lost at least 4 or 5 of them that way since then. So I really take that win at this point. But this racetrack's always been a special place for me because it's home. I started my first Cup race here. I watched my first one here. We won our first one here, so it just makes it a special place anytime I come here, and be able to see a lot of friends that come to this racetrack, as well as one of the most special places to win. When we won that race over there a couple years ago, I look at that as the biggest win of my career. Bigger than the Daytona 500 to me. That's what this racetrack means to me. So, if we can make it happen again, we'll try our hardest and hopefully get it.
Rich.
Hi, Rich Thompson, Boston Herald. Kind of on that vein, there's so few multiple winners on this track. You got any theory why no one team can dominate this place?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's certain racetracks that we go to that it's the same group of cars that are fast every time. And it is kind of like that here. But for some reason, we've seen this race come down to fuel mileage. We've seen a lot of strategy come into play sometimes with tires that all of a sudden the car is able to get up there that you don't see all day, or a really fast car gets stuck in the middle of the pack. We've seen just interesting finishes. Whether that's the length of the race or whatever it is, I don't know what makes that happen, but there is a group of cars that are fast every time you're here. But for some reason, there's always kind of a guy that sneaks up there and wins the race. And I don't understand exactly why that is.
Pat DeCola, NASCAR.com. If you guys do find yourself in a do-or-die situation at Richmond, do you feel like you have any sort of safety net knowing that you guys already know what works there with your success earlier this season?
Yeah, we've learned a lot. We've won a couple races at Richmond now. We've gone to that racetrack and tried things before that we were completely sold on and ran awful. And so when that happens, it makes you kind of rethink everything, which isn't a bad thing. When that happens, yes, it sucks at the moment, but you learn a lot from those moments when something goes way wrong. To go the way the other direction, and you learn from those days. And we've been able to do that and become pretty successful at Richmond. It's been a great racetrack for us in the past. A lot of top fives and a couple wins. That's great. We still got a lot of races before that to get there. But like I said, when you put this team in a do-or-die situation, that's the team I want to drive for, is this one here.
Nick Stoico, Concord Monitor. Joey, just what were your thoughts, your reaction when you found out that New Hampshire would be losing its September race to Las Vegas starting next season?
Yeah, it's a bummer. for me, it's my home racetrack, so I want to come up here as much as I can. It's a beautiful area. I'm sure everyone's enjoying the weather right now after the last couple of weeks, how cool it is here. They turned the heat on in the motorhome last night. I was like, yes, I feel glad to be home. And so Vegas is a great racetrack, though. It's a great destination racetrack. I have a lot of people that go there, as race fans and stuff. They make a vacation out of it, and they go to Vegas and the city and the whole nine. So I get it. I understand why it's probably a good move for a sport. But selfishly, I love coming here, so I want to keep coming up here as much as we can. But it is what it is. Not my decision.
Any additional questions for Joey? Sean?
Joey, do you, as you grow older, do you find yourself clinging more to being that hometown kid from Connecticut? Is it something you appreciate more as you get older?
Yeah, you do, because I think as you become more successful and you're around more, I guess more in the limelight, you remember your roots more and more. And maybe some people are the other way, but for me, I do. And we have a great group of friends in Connecticut, family friends that have been around forever, and they're so supportive, and all of really New England's like that. I always joke about it when I come up here to New Hampshire. I feel like I'm Dale Jr. because everyone likes me. There ain't many other places everybody likes me. So obviously I want to race here 3 or 4 times a year. So, that part's real nice, and so I really appreciate that, and it's kind of cool that, being, one of the only drivers from New England area, that it makes it very unique and special for me to come up to this racetrack and in this area. So, like I said, as I get older, I realize that more and more. Not that I'm old, but as I've been around a little bit longer and seen this stuff, it's special for me to come up here.
Any additional questions for Joey? Well, Joey, have fun out there this weekend, and good luck.
All right. Thank you, guys.